This floral bridal Mehendi design stretches seamlessly from the elbow to the fingertips. Its visual impact comes from the sharp contrast between these dark, saturated lines and the bare skin. This sequence of patterns looks complex, but the entire arm is built by placing simple, fundamental techniques in a specific order. The first requirement is a fresh henna cone. You need a medium consistency to ensure the paste flows predictably across the skin. Paste that is too thick will dry before you can finish a detail, while a thin, watery paste will bleed into the surrounding skin and ruin your fine lines. Mastering this material consistency, combined with steady structural pacing, allows the design to remain balanced and clean from start to finish. This diagram shows our exact starting position. Place your hand on the arm and mark a point exactly 4 finger widths below the elbow joint. At this mark, you begin the foundational upper patch. Your first movement is to draw a large central spiral that acts as the anchor for the entire section. The diameter of this initial spiral is critical. It establishes the scale for the bold flower and dictates how much space the design will occupy on the upper arm. When drawing the petals, use one-time pressure point control. Commit to each line with steady pressure and keep moving. Avoid the urge to backtrack or trace over wet henna. Establishing this appropriately scaled foundation right below the elbow ensures the geometric success of every element you add further down the arm. Contrast prevents a muddy silhouette. Achieve this by placing delicate, thinly lined grids next to thick, bold floral elements. Connect the upper and mid-arm by intertwining them. Draw bold leaf bunches and V-shaped leaves intersecting directly with your fine grids. Now, fill the remaining negative space on the mid-arm using transitional cutwork shapes, specifically domes and small clustered cherry dots. It is vital that you leave the negative space inside these cutwork shapes empty for now. Do not fill them with paste yet. Henna applied to warm skin naturally spreads. Filling these areas while outlines are wet causes lines to bleed together. Allowing these outlines to dry first creates a solid boundary. This maintains crisp, distinct lines, even as the design grows more crowded. The focus now shifts to the palm. As the most visible part of the hand, this highlight zone requires your most precise detail work. The structure of the palm begins at the base, where you map out 3 clustered rose bunches. To keep these roses from disappearing into the background, draw the innermost petals unusually broad. This keeps the flower impactful despite its smaller scale. To anchor the top half of the palm, place a secondary bold focal flower directly below the index finger. Organizing these structural anchors correctly allows the eye to flow naturally through the artwork from the wrist to the fingers. Artist fatigue usually sets in once you reach the fingers. You must maintain focus here, as messy work on the fingertips will distract from the quality of the palm. Use a strategy of intentional variety. If you repeat the same pattern on every finger, the design will look unappealing and repetitive. Instead, give the outer digits contrasting patterns. The thumb features dark cutwork, while the pinky finger receives delicate fine checks. For the inner digits, use bold leaves on the ring finger, and save the middle and index fingers for intricate traditional belts. Treating each finger as a unique microcanvas ensures the overall design remains dynamic rather than repetitive. Now that the design is laid out, return to the mid-arm cutwork. These outlines are dry enough to safely fill the negative space. Carefully shade the inner petals of your flowers and flood the space behind the cutwork elements with solid henna paste. This comparison shows how to create a 3-dimensional effect. Doubling the border lines around your filled elements creates a high-contrast edge that visually lifts the pattern off the skin. For the final touch, apply air lines, light, hovering strokes drawn slightly above the skin. These perfect the clean edges of the design for photography. The final design relies on this deliberate layering of bold borders and clean fills to build depth and structure within the artwork.